Good morning from the snow-covered mountains of Japan. We're out in a mountain village right now, and right up here around the corner should be an abandoned school. Now, this particular area of Japan gets a ton of snow, and one of the beauty of Japan, especially the Sea of Japan side, is the amount of snow coverage that it gets. And I see paw tracks here as we go up. And these areas of the mountains do have everything from monkeys and foxes, boars, deer, you name it. It's all up here. They're actually somewhat large. This here is the back of the schoolhouse. I think we need to go around side to get to the front of it. The snow on the roof is beautiful. There's also a playground out here. We have a set of swings here and a seesaw over here, and then that gives us the schoolhouse itself right here. Oh, now I managed to get permission to come in and check this out today. So we're gonna come in this way, and they said that this door right here should just slide open for us. Okay, so we'll start by changing out to slippers so that we can keep the place nice and clean, because it is in beautiful condition. Now, this schoolhouse was built back around 1940 or so and was abandoned, I think it was somewhere around 1964, somewhere around there, if I remember correctly. So these are all old school desks and chairs and whatnot that were used back in 1964. Now, judging from the size of the desks and tables and whatnot, I'm going to guess that this main room here was for the really little kids, like the super young ones. And we have an old piano. Is it a piano? And I had to give it a shot, because in one of our previous abandoned school explorations, I walked right by a piano and didn't try it, and everybody was very disheartened by that. But as you can see, it's in gorgeous condition. They have a lot of the stuff kind of hung from the ceilings, old Mitsubishi electric fans and whatnot. And these lighting structures here are literally just on hooks that are screwed into the wooden supports and are just dangling from the ceiling. This is only about this much above head level, so you kind of gotta watch out for that. But let's take a bit of an exploration walk through the school itself and see what we can find. And an old kawaii electric organ here. So this one probably requires power. Yep, it's got a power switch here. Obviously not plugged in or powered at the moment. And then we've got all these old buckets here that show that we are out in the area of Nagano at the moment. Now, again, these places aren't super hard to find, but I typically don't post the locations publicly because not everybody is as respectful in their journeys and their exploration with these. And so For those of you who are able to find these, all I ask is that if you come out to visit, please do so respectfully. This here is actually the toilet and washroom area in here. Oh. And wow, okay. That is dark. There we go. I just heard something go bang. Always makes me just a little bit nervous, but I want to close that door back to its original position there. And then, does this slide open in some way? It feels like it does, yes. It looks like we have a bit of a storage closet in here. Okay. Old whiteboards. I think it's really interesting, actually, if we come in here. Like, is this a whiteboard or a petition? I feel like it's got to be a petition because it's got this. I thought it was glass, but this is actually all made of plastic here. And then there are cleaning supplies in here as well. Coming around the corner, we have desks and tables and chairs. So a lot of Japanese elementary schools will actually, instead of utilizing a janitor, will often have the children clean the school. So, close that back up. And so the children wipe the floors and clean the school and take good care of it. And you can tell that this place, even after being abandoned, has been really well taken care of. Let's take a peek into this room here. More often than not, these old wooden doors end up just locked up and frozen and unmovable. But it always amazes me the amount of stuff left behind. Like, we've got, because this area is very, very snowy, we have a ton of different like snowshoes and snow poles out here. And this is also one of the reasons that I don't always share the areas that these are in or give direct like pinpoint locations, because unfortunately you share that with the masses, and more often than not, all too many people will come out and be like, well, it's abandoned, it means it's all free, I'm gonna go take what I want. And it doesn't really work that way. Abandoned doesn't necessarily mean no longer owned. And more often than not, these places are kind of treated as unofficial museum spaces in Japan. So many of the explorers and whatnot will come, they'll take a look, they'll take photos, they'll look at things, and then they leave it exactly as it is for others to enjoy. And many of these spaces, like this one, end up getting used in productions and movies. Amazingly, there's even a clock on the wall over there, and it's moving, but doesn't have the correct time, if you will. And my guess is that because this place has been used for a movie shoot recently, it's been extra cleaned up, and things like the clocks having batteries put in them and whatnot would have been done. And these old interphone or intercom systems are always really cool to me. And I can always want to return it to the exact state that we found it in. Now, right now, it's about -5 degrees in this area, so it is quite cold. And again, we just got this whole shop area right here with tools and whatnot left behind. Now, because this is a very well-built and important structure for the area, my guess is that a lot of this is still used. The one request that I was given in coming out here is please don't touch or move anything, and that's a pretty obvious request. And it was also return everything to the state in which you found it. But my guess is that these tools are all still used to maintain the area around here and take care of the school and the grounds and everything like that. So we're gonna come up this way and check out this room right here. And I always look at these and wonder, what was the purpose of this particular room? Like, we got a little bit of a kitchen space over there, and then some bigger desks here. My guess is that that light was not there in 1964, nor was the generator. But when you look at this room, for example, what do you think was the purpose of this specific room? Or for that matter, even this one here beside it. Now, elementary schools, especially in Japan, are often built to be some of the strongest buildings. And you can look outside and see some of the snow overhanging that's likely to fall later on. But the elementary schools are often built to be the strongest buildings so that they can survive earthquakes and be evacuation zones and whatnot. And I believe that one was already open, so we'll leave that there. And we'll go check out upstairs and see what that has to offer. Wow. This is just an absolutely gorgeous space. And the stairs still feel very, very solid and safe, considering that this is a wooden building built the better part of 100 years ago. We're looking at like something 85 years ago. And it is in the mountains with snow and constant moisture. There's no mold smell whatsoever. It actually just smells fresh and clean in here. And you can tell that it's probably still very regularly maintained. There's very little dust and grime. I touched that and nothing whatsoever. So it is loved and cared for, and the village that is around here is absolutely beautiful. This whole area is actually built up the side of a mountain valley, and the drive up is filled with so many distractingly beautiful views. And as I drove up this morning, I came across a few locals on the way who were very friendly and would wave and smile. And I feel like the people out in this area have quite a bit of pride for their home. And so this looks like it will be the main classroom area. And considering the fact that they're out in a very cold and snowy area, it really makes me wonder. I'm guessing they probably used a lot of space heaters. The plugs up at the top, as we saw downstairs, were probably for fans. The plugs here along the sides, I'm gonna guess, were for space heaters. Also, there's this really old style of wiring that I really appreciate, where all the wires are just kind of mounted visibly on the outside and can all be traced. And there's something classic and beautiful about it. But it is freezing cold out here. Even in this building right now, it's about the same temperature as outside. There's, as you can tell from the walls, like this is just single pane glass here that leads to the outside. And there is likely little to no insulation built into this edge right here. So it tells me that these schoolrooms in the winter would have been incredibly cold. And here we're finally getting a bit of dust on the desks, but I feel like this would have been the main classroom area right here. Just gorgeous. And before I give it away, can anybody tell me behind the main teacher's desk right here, what this is written on the blackboard? Anybody know? This is actually a really well-known Japanese song. And this is a little bit of a hint to the movie that was recently made and shot in this school, if you want to try and hunt and track that down. And then that brings us to this room right here, which again, I look at this and I wonder, what was the goal and purpose of this room right here? Like, there's a tatami space right here with like a stand, a dai, a kotatsu over here with 2 heat lamps inside, and then the heated stove over here with the pipe running through. Obviously, this was the room they were trying to keep warm. I'm going to guess that this is likely an old sewing machine, so this may have been like kind of the home ec type. Oh, wow. I've only got the one hand, and I don't want to mess things up too badly, so we're just going to kind of take this one-handed peek like this. And then I'll flip this back, and we'll come over to the other side and check it out. Oh. Yup. An old Mitsubishi sewing table right here. Got some stink bugs down there that have hidden here for warmth and met their end. Some sample sewing here. Ah. We will put this back exactly as we found it. There we go. All returned. So I guess we may have figured out the mystery of what this room was for. But also, I wonder if they held other classes in here, because again, it seems like this is the only room that would have been heated. And most of the electronics in here, the lights and switches, either all come from Mitsubishi or National. And again, got the brooms over here for them to clean up and tidy up their area. And I think there was one little set of boxes downstairs that I wanted to take a peek in, but didn't get to. But it's always an absolute pleasure to be able to find places like this that have been left untouched, preserved, and so well taken care of. There's a box right over here with 3 drawers. And I wonder if anything has been left behind. Empty on that one. Empty on that one. And I'm guessing empty on the bottom as well. But again, just, I think it's a true testament to how well this place is built. That it has been here for 85 plus years, is still in this great of a condition in an area that is constantly covered in snow. This is one of the snowiest areas in Japan. Not the snowiest, but one of the snowiest areas in the entire country. And this place is still in beautiful condition, despite the constant like in the summers as well. It gets hot in these areas. It can reach like 36, 37 degrees Celsius, and with extreme humidity as well. Got another little storage room in here. Kind of leads to the outside there, which means this place is constantly, over the span of a year, expanding and contracting. That is just kind of old window lock. Oh. And it just amazes me that this building can be here in an earthquake-prone country, surviving hundreds and thousands of earthquakes over the years while expanding and contracting in the heat and the cold, and still hold up to be this beautiful. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Please leave me something down below, and you guys know I'll see you again real soon. Okay, something we missed before that I found in my post-exploration, while the first toilet was really dark, this one is actually really, really nice. It feels like it's been rebuilt. All the wood in here feels really new, and it's got this beautiful heated toilet. I wonder if this was done for the movie, or if the toilet has just been this nice since it was last used in 1964. What do you think? Honestly though, imagine just being a kid out for recess, swinging on the swings with that view in the background. What a life that must have been. Also, it was definitely way colder in the school than it was outside.